Good evening, everybody. It's Mike Tedesco from Wrestleview.com.
And Victoria Tedesco.
Whoa. Oh, boy.
What a weekend.
What a weekend for wrestling. This was quite good, I gotta say.
Yeah?
Oh, wow. Okay, so, of course, all the nights that I would love to be recapping Monday Night Raw. Of all the damn nights, this was the one, and I said, you know what? I recapped NXT, which I thought was a good takeover special. It was a damn good show, by the way. Royal Rumble, not bad either. Really, pretty decent show. But I was like, I'll give Raw up, to Adam. It'd be crazy to want to recap, 14 hours of wrestling pretty much in 3 days. That'd be a lot. It's almost a full day in front of a computer recapping. What a mistake I made. Huge mistake. I should have known, because last year, and Adam did a great job, by the way. Adam, thank you so much. He's the best by far. I should have known, though. Last year, the Raw after the Royal Rumble last year was a damn good show. That was a lot of stuff happening on that show. They had Asuka, they had Ronda Rousey, they actually had Asuka versus Becky Lynch, not Sasha Banks, excuse me. I've got Becky Lynch on my mind right now because she was killing it on this show tonight. She went to town on this show. And that, I have to say, of all the shows that year for, in 2018, I think I got to say that Raw after Royal Rumble was probably the best. Probably the best one. The hottest crowd all night. Beat out the Raw from WrestleMania. The last couple Raws after WrestleMania, I have to say, were a little disappointing. It seems like the standard was set in New Jersey in 2013 at the Izod Center for that wild, crazy Raw where just everything went nuts.
Right.
And they haven't, it's like every crowd is trying to live up to that afterwards, and I don't think they can, number one, and number two, it comes off as like inauthentic because then they start pandering to the crowd and it kind of stinks. I hate that crap. So it's the Raw after Raw Rumble now. That's the Raw of the year, pretty much. I will never take off for Raw after Raw Rumble ever again. I'll tell you that much. But this was an awesome show. Awesome. Let's just go into it. I mean,
Whoa.
Okay.
Hold the phone.
Well, what am I holding for? You tell me.
I have a new best friend.
Well, oh my God. Oh yeah, of course. Yes.
Come on.
It's been such a wild weekend, such a crazy weekend. Victoria has a new friend.
Triple H is my new friend.
Please, yes. Victoria on the conference call on Saturday night after NXT got on. If you haven't heard the video yet or heard the audio,
check it out, please.
Check it out. Victoria represented Wrestleview.com splendidly and got a quick question into Paul Levesque, a.k.a. Triple H, a.k.a. the guy who got made fun of for having a father-in-law in Vince McMahon tonight. So, pretty good. You did all right. And he gave you a good answer, too.
He did. He really did. I was so nervous, though. I was like, what? Because I was right after they had, when you go into these conference calls, they go back and forth. So they take one call from the room, one call on the phone. And what happened was they did Dave Meltzer, they did somebody from the room, and then they did me. So I was like, oh my gosh, here I go. Okay, here's Dave Meltzer. Okay, here's the other guy. Okay, here's Victoria Tedesco from Wrestleview.com. There you go. And I was so nervous. But I think overall it went okay. I don't think my nerves came out during the interview. So, luckily, but he gave a really insightful response. It was very well thought out and very long, too, which I was really happy about.
Yes.
So I was like, okay.
yeah, it was good. It was good. My favorite part of the entire interview is immediately. So they go, and now on the line is Victoria Tedesco from Wrestleview.com, and Triple H goes like, "Hi, Victoria," and you go, "Hi, Paul." That was my favorite. You called Called him by his real name. Victoria will not be gimmicked and call him Triple H. She just went right for it. Paul.
Well, I feel like you're pressed, so why are you going to call him Triple H?
Yeah, I know.
Right?
It's
I mean,
not,
unless it's like...
It's not a promo.
No, unless it's somebody like
Well, it was a promo for NXT.
The Undertaker, you know what I mean? Then
yeah, you're not going to be like, hey, Mark.
I'm not going to be like, hey, Mark, what's up? Like, good job, WrestleMania. No, I feel like in that type of situation, he's part of corporate. He's the head of it. You call him Paul. Yeah, I don't know.
I agree.
I think it's up. I know people debated. They're like, oh, why is she calling him Paul? But whatever.
I agree. It was it was a fun night. That was a lot of fun. Royal Rumble, you know, it's hard to have a bad time watching the Rumble. I was really underwhelmed by the men's Royal Rumble. I didn't enjoy it all that much. I thought even though the women's Royal Rumble basically it stunk for the first like 25 or 26 entrants. Not really stunk, but you know, like there was some good stuff with Naomi and Casey Catanzaro pop out in my head immediately. Lacey Evans I thought had a good showing, but it didn't pick up until the Becky Lynch thing happened. And Becky Lynch was the star of that show last night, and she was the star of Monday Night Raw, despite being a SmackDown superstar tonight. Let's get into Raw and talk about it.
Raw.
I am like so excited to talk about this show tonight. I am pumped up. First, let's go check out the poll on Twitter, which was put up. So it's 11:07. So it's been up for 9 minutes. We have 41 votes already. We have 76% giving it a thumbs up. Well, it must be the ending. It must be the ending. People hate seeing Brock Lesnar go over, I guess. But yes. So we still have 24% thumbs down. 24% curmudgeons tonight. I'm sorry. This was a darn good show.
I know. What were they watching?
I don't know what you can complain about. So let's just jump right into it. We kick off the show, and this is a stacked show tonight, by the way. We have Kurt Angle wrestling. We have Elimination Chamber women's tag team championship qualifying matches tonight. We have Braun Strowman, Drew McIntyre. There's a lot of stuff going on. And then Ronda Rousey was issuing an open challenge with the title on the line, even though she didn't quite get that out. That was interesting, too.
Well, we'll talk about that.
Yeah, before we even start, let's just greet everybody in the chat room. I see a lot of people in the chat. Wow,
salutations.
It's lively in the chat tonight. We got Andrew Elder. Hello, sir. Clinton, CJ Bowman. Randy is in the chat room. Doug Lackey. Nafis Sadat. Hello, everybody. Billy Hefner. I know we got Quentin. Quentin, always there. Our number one fan. SmackDown number one fan is Quentin. Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining us tonight. Thanks for joining us live. And if you're not joining us live, if you're listening to us on Spotify, you're watching us on replay on YouTube, please join us live. I implore you one day. Get involved in the conversations. It's fun. It's fun over here. And if you're watching us on YouTube for the first time, please press the subscribe button. It's somewhere like that direction somewhere. Over. Yeah, that. I think over there. Something like that. So please subscribe. Okay. All right. So we got Seth Rollins kicking off the show. Burn it down. This crowd was on fire for Seth Rollins tonight. Absolutely on fire. It seems, and I couldn't be happier. I called Seth Rollins to win last week. I was very, very happy about that. It wasn't exactly a stretch to call him the winner. It was pretty, he was heavily favored, and I'm glad they didn't do the old Swervola and have somebody else win. Rollins deserves it. He's been the dark horse of the company for a long time. A guy who they give crummy, face promos to sometimes, and he makes them work somehow. He always has the crowd on his side. He's always working hard. He works his butt off night in, night out. And even if they give you some bad material sometimes for promos, I think that the work and the passion shines through on television, and people notice that, and it's kept him over for quite some time.
Yeah, no, definitely. He was a star. He was the perfect person to open up the show, honestly.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely. And overall, I think that his momentum is just going to keep going up and up and up and up. Finally, he's getting
I would hope so.
No, but he's finally getting the credit where credit is due.
Yes.
Finally.
Yeah.
Not that he's...
No, it's not like he's been suffering.
No, he hasn't been suffering, but this is like a real opportunity for him, and I'm just happy that it's finally here, and that everybody else is kind of now on the bandwagon for Seth Rollins, like, wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
So...
I like it, and I've said for a long time, and maybe it's true, maybe it's not, and it's all subjective anyway as to who the best worker is in the world and stuff like that. You know, you can subscribe to Dave Meltzer, you know, typing with one finger in an arm cast right now and say it's Kenny Omega or Okada or something like that. For me, my money, with all eyes watching and a much larger audience, to stay over with them, you know, from the casual fan to the hardcore fan, Seth Rollins, number one.
He's got it.
He's the guy. I do believe he's the best wrestler in the world right now. And yeah, let's. I wonder how everybody will feel about that in the chat room. I'm very curious. I'm very curious.
Here we go.
So we got people. So again, people are going nuts for Seth Rollins. Big, you deserve it chant. It's hot. It's really, really hot. Rollins promised he was going to win if he won the Royal Rumble, that he wasn't going to do it no matter what. He wasn't going to do it. Then he smiles and he points at the WrestleMania sign, because that's just when you win the Royal Rumble, you just have to. And you have to do it every single week. So basically, they're just saying that Rollins is going to be making his decision tonight. They have Daniel Bryan there, the WWE champion Daniel Bryan, and they have the Universal champion Brock Lesnar. And as soon as he said Brock Lesnar, loud chant of "take his belt," which was really good. I mean, people know that that's going to be the match, and I like that. Everybody kind of knows who each person who won the Royal Rumble is gonna face. You know, everybody knew as soon as Becky Lynch won, it's Ronda Rousey, and we all have to figure it's Rollins and Brock Lesnar. Now, Rollins could have a great match with Daniel Bryan. Damn, I'd love to see him face Brock Lesnar.
I said this last week. I find that even though certain things about the Rumble were very predictable, I'm okay with this predictability.
Yes, yeah. Predictability. Like some people really got chapped last night. And was like, oh my God, this show is so predictable. I can't believe that they went with Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch. Everybody knew that was what was going to happen.
But that's okay.
It's okay to be predictable sometimes. Did it take away from your enjoyment of the show? Did they not give you enough stuff? Granted, a lot of people were complaining that there weren't a lot of legends in the Rumble. I was happy. I for one was extremely happy that the only two legends out of 60 people that they used in both Rumbles. They used two legends, and it was in the men's Rumble. Jeff Jarrett, who had his first match since he faced China in the Good Housekeeping match in WWF, and since October 1999, had his first match back. And by the way, Jeff Jarrett hired as a producer today. He's going to be working backstage for WWE. What a comeback story for that guy. That's incredible. And I had the great fortune of getting to interview him before All In September. And he's just a really, really good dude. And he's gone through a lot of stuff. And I got to say, I said it there. I'm a fan of the people that are behind the characters. I'm a fan of Jeff Jarrett, the person. And, he's not the worst worker in the world. He's not the greatest of all time, that's for sure. But he's not bad either. He's been very serviceable, and he throws a damn good punch. I'm really, really happy. What a comeback story that was. And anyway, so they only relied on two legends. It's okay. It's okay to not use legends, and they got through it just fine. I think that's got to be the wave of the future. Less reliance on legends, and just go with your roster. Go with what you got. Even if you're not thrilled with up and down the roster, you just got to go for it. Yeah.
No, I agree. And once in a while, it's okay to be predictable. It's okay. Everyone always expects, ooh, who's going to do the interruption? Oh, who's going to... No, let's just enjoy the match,
Right. So, even though it underwhelmed me a little bit, it wasn't a bad Rumble by any means. It just, I think part of it had to be that there was 5 hours of wrestling preceding it, the men's Rumble. It just didn't go, and the Becky Lynch thing was just so red hot. I almost think that they should have put the women on last.
I think they should have. That's the only thing that I would change from that. I think,
but I guess the big surprise was Nia Jax entering the men's Rumble, which we'll talk about that when we get to the Nia Jax
when we get to that part.
Yeah. I guess maybe they put the men on last so that they could do that with Nia Jax. I guess, but whatever. That's neither here nor there. Anyway, we got Triple H coming out now to tell Rollins that he's going to make that decision today. Yes, Victoria's new best friend. he's aware. He reminds Rollins of how fast the machine moves, and he's given him till the end of the night to make his decision. And then that sends out Dean Ambrose, of all people. Yes, Dean Ambrose comes out, and this is the Dean Ambrose that I wanted to see when they were doing the feud
this should
over
have been
the
all
fall and
along.
winter. With Seth Rollins, they went into this comedy thing, doing this, having him in a veterinarian's office, getting poked in the ass with needles and stuff like that, like and wearing gas masks and all. What
They
was
played
that?
too much along with the character.
This was the Dean Ambrose tonight.
Yeah, they needed to start with this initially and stay consistent with that. They played a little bit too much with the character as far as, do they want him to be a comedic heel? Do they want him to be the insane heel? Do they want him to be just a normal heel? But do this. This is what Dean Ambrose is supposed to be doing all along.
It was great.
When he turned heel, this is exactly what it should have been, and this is what I think what they had intended. But then it was, how the writers just kind of get a little silly.
I almost think that they're planting the seeds, for Triple H versus Dean Ambrose at WrestleMania, which would not be the worst.
That
thing
would
in the world.
not at all.
That could salvage Dean Ambrose as a heel and solidify him as kind of like upper mid card main event heel.
And I really
which is what I thought he was going to be. And I thought that the Rollins feud was going to be red hot, and they went and instead of making it red hot, they had a great angle the night Roman Reigns came down with leukemia, or announced that he had leukemia, which was very unfortunate. But a lot of people criticized that decision. I was on board with it because I thought they were going to play it right, and they did play it right that one night. After that, it went downhill. It went from being like, okay, Triple H versus Randy Orton's going to be a red hot match at WrestleMania, and then it's like, what's going on here? And now it's Triple H can lose the title by disqualification, so this blood feud, you can't use weapons, and so that was ridiculous. And then they had a horrible match at TLC.
And that's the thing, although I really like Seth Rollins, I wasn't enjoying their matches, and which was very bizarre to me, because I like him so much, and I think he has really good chemistry with Dean Ambrose. So it was very confusing, that fact that they weren't putting on really outstanding matches.
Yep.
And finally tonight, I wouldn't say it was outstanding.
No, but it was much better, more intense.
But it was definitely better, and you had the crowd reacting. You had more intensity, and I think it just finally went a line. Everything is exactly where it's supposed to be. Seth Rollins is exactly where he's supposed to be, and Dean Ambrose is finally getting to where he's supposed to be.
I agree. And springboarding off of what Ambrose said that was so darn good.
Yeah.
Was he talked to Triple H, he said, this father-son thing is cute in the ring, because Triple H was saying he's proud of Seth and all that stuff.
Yes.
And he says, Triple H never believed in me, when I was driving around Florida making $500 a shot. You wanted to get rid of me. And, Triple H then kind of points out that, you're a bastard pretty much. You turned on Rollins the same night Roman Reigns announced he had leukemia. And Ambrose said this doesn't concern you. All he wants is to call Rollins a suck up. He calls him a pure kiss ass, and he says he hopes that Rollins beats either Bryan or Lesnar at WrestleMania, but everyone knows Rollins can't beat any of them without his help. So he wants Triple H to book a match between him and Seth, and Triple H smiles, goes to walk away, and then Ambrose stops him and says, do you need to ask permission from your father-in-law first? Which was a really, really good little. I like that. That was cute. I like every now and then when they go behind the curtain, when they drop the veil down a little bit. Even though everybody knows. And Triple H makes the match. Seth Rollins versus Dean Ambrose. This is the match they should have had at TLC. I think it wasn't too long.
No.
It was short and sweet. The commercial break helps, no doubt. But this was good, I thought.
This is what should have been all along. Bottom line. This is exactly the type of chemistry they needed in the ring all along. It was very, I will say it again, it was very confusing, because I like both of them. They're really good in the ring together. Why were they not putting on good matches?
Yeah. That's the sweet mystery.
They had all the elements. They had all parts of the equation, and it was not coming together the way it was supposed to. But finally tonight,
yeah,
2 thumbs up.
They made it work. They definitely made it work. So, yeah. So, and it was a decisive victory for Rollins, by the way.
Yeah.
Very, very decisive.
Yeah. No, there was no
it
the way
was,
around it.
Usually like when he does the super kick and sets up for the curb stomp, they move out of the way. But tonight, Dean Ambrose did not move out of the way. He took the curb stomp, and that was the end of it. And I liked it. I liked it very much. I liked having Triple H involved in it, and I liked, tonight was so much about planting the seeds for WrestleMania matches. Just about, there was a few things that they teased tonight that looked really good, and I got to say, Triple H versus Dean Ambrose is very good. In the chat room, they're talking about that Dean and Triple H was good at Roadblock, which was actually happened in 2016 when Triple H was the WWE champion when he won the Royal Rumble that year. And I that jogged my memory because I totally forgot about Roadblock, which I believe took place in Toronto. And it was a good match. It actually really was. And they kind of teased that Ambrose never really got beat there either. There was some kind of, if memory serves correctly, there was some tomfoolery involved there. Mm-hmm. But
good job, chat room.
That could be a good match.
Good job, as always, for jogging our memories.
Yes, thank you. After that, Dean Ambrose is still sitting in the ring. He wants to say something serious, but he never got to say it because Nia Jax and Tamina walk out. Nia gets in Dean's face. Tamina kind of hovers by, and then Nia basically punches Dean and sends him out of the ring. Officials show up and make Dean Ambrose go to the back. So Nia Jax is now wrestling, guys. She is the new China.
Okay, yeah.
And one thing I don't want to...
Is that official, though?
I don't know. It just...
No, but
But, I mean, it looks like it.
I guess so.
It looks like it.
And that was the one thing that when she entered the Rumble, that was the one thing I was a little concerned about. I was like, is she really going to enter this Rumble and nobody can fight her? But then once everybody started like doing all these other moves, and I'm like, okay, all right, fine. I'll take it, whatever. Yeah. I mean, but now this means that in the video game, they should be able to have men and women wrestle together and fight against each other.
I agree. I agree. I don't know. Like, I have to say, like, I saw the podcast with Adam and Doug last night. Adam wasn't really on board with Nia Jax coming out, and then by the end he was kind of sold by it. I was the same way. I didn't hate Nia Jax in the Rumble, but I don't want to make this like a regular thing because it's going to be like, like if she's man, basically woman handling people, guys with ease. It's like I can never, if she ever, she tapped out to Sasha Banks. What was it, 3-4 weeks ago? I'll never be able to believe that again. It's almost like, God, she's too big and too good, at that stuff for her own good. It'll actually hurt her when she actually goes back to wrestling women if that's the case. And even like she ran roughshod. Her and Tamina ran roughshod over Alexa Bliss and Mickie James. Yeah. Which is fine, whatever. As she should, I was kind of hoping Bliss would get a little more, offense in, seeing that she just came back and having to get offense against Tamina is it's an unenviable task.
And it's also risky too. So maybe they did.
Tamina looked horrible.
They did. I think they did it to protect Alexa Bliss. To be honest with you.
No, I mean, she was in there for a while with Tamina, and I was
but
there was actually moments of the match where I was just watching Tamina do stuff and take offense, and I literally shouted, I think, was it 2 separate times? You were with me while I was watching this.
Yeah.
I just go, she's horrible! Horrible! It just lit me up. I don't know why. But you
were very triggered by her. Yeah, the whole thing with Nia is just that it's like it's very hard to find her place right now. Like, I feel like she's in a very awkward stage in her career because she's able to fight men, but she's had matches where she hasn't been a dominating heel. So it's like they either have to just now they have to hit the reset button and just have her completely dominate the women. Like, the matches shouldn't go any longer than like a minute. Yeah. And I'm being honest with you. The matches should not go and she shouldn't be wrestling that often.
I agree.
Because now, like you said, the fact that she fought Sasha, she lost like all these women that she's...
And then she goes in and eliminates Mustafa Ali. and woman handles Rey Mysterio.
Right.
It's
yeah. I mean, it's like.
Yeah, they got to back off a little bit now.
They really
make her like a special attraction.
Yeah, they really have to kind of like put the brakes on it and just do a whole. She should be wrestling maybe once a month.
Yeah,
possibly. You know what I mean? She could still come out if she really, and intimidate if she really wants to, but if she's going to be wrestling both men and women, now she has to just be dominating the women.
Yeah, no doubt
completely.
About it. No doubt about it. Yeah.
So we'll see what happens.
We'll see what happens.
It was too close.
They finally it's been Nia Jax has been on the roster for how long? 2 years.
2-3 years, right?
About 2 years. I think she showed up at the Raw after WrestleMania or something like that. And in 2016. Oh no, it's got to be 3 years.
Yeah,
now.
3 years now.
Oh my gosh, that's right. Yes, so she's been around for 3 years, and they are finally figuring out what the hell they want to do with her. They tried to make her, they initially went for the monster thing, and then they left her in long matches. I remember she had the Raw we went to in March 2017. They left her in their long match. I think it was against Bayley, and it was just a bad match. She was, Nia Jax is not the person to be having singles matches that go through commercial breaks. She should be crushing people. They gave her some jobbers to beat up for a little bit when she got injured and came back, and they started getting it going there, and then they made her lose again.
Yeah, no, and she had this, face run.
And then she had this face run that was just abysmal. Absolutely abysmal. And some moron, it had to be a guy wrote the storyline because they're just like, oh, it's women. They're just emotional. So when they're not, heels, they got to be, faces that cry all the time and care about body image and all this stuff and want to be role models. And that sucked to high heaven. And actually, when I watched the WWE 24, that was after Royal Rumble last night, and they were trying to make the match against Alexa Bliss seem like this thing that was like a humongous career moment. I was cringing thinking about that storyline, how bad it was. The match itself was terrible.
Well, I still can't forgive her for the Total Divas thing. So
and it just was bad. Yeah, and the lead up to Total Divas, Victoria's talked about how they make it seem like Alexa Bliss
we're
and
not
her
friends
were really
anymore.
fighting.
We had a falling out, and that's why we're fighting.
It was bad.
Really?
and then they just, Nia Jax had a really, really crummy run as the Raw Women's Champion. Lost it back to Alexa Bliss and then faded into the background for a while. Now they're kind of figuring out again.
It was definitely cool for her to be involved last night, and it did, it helped me to get into it a little bit more for sure. But the only thing is, though, it was so close to her loss to Sasha Banks and her having all these long matches. So I feel like they should have planned it out a little bit better. Prior to if they had her listen, we don't even know how long they plan this out for the Rumble. So
yeah, all right,
maybe not but
yeah. Well, let's just finish talking about this. Yeah, Alexa Bliss spent a lot of time selling, and then they just had then they had Nia Jax come in and kill Mickie James and Alexa Bliss, which with a very impressive double Samoan drop. I like that she had them both on her shoulders.
Yes.
Even though I know Alexa Bliss has got to be like, what is she, 110 pounds?
Not even, probably.
But, it's still, body weight, and then Mickie James on top of your shoulders, too. And then she did a squat, and then she gave them the Samoan drop. That was damn impressive. So I like what they're doing with Nia Jax right now. I really do. And I just wonder, like, when did this light switch come on that a giant female who is like the female Big Show or something like that, should be a special attraction. Big Show, they never should have. They should have always had him as a special attraction. He should never have been wrestling week in, week out doing stuff. Same with Nia Jax. It's like you have these people that have a unique look. You got to pace it out. You can't have them on TV every week, and that's really, really tough when you have 5 hours of unique television every week on weeks that don't have a pay-per-view.
Yeah.
So tough. Anyway, moving on. So Nia Jax and Tamina beat them. They advance. They are going to be in the Elimination Chamber. I shudder to think of Tamina in an Elimination Chamber match. Good Lord, that would be crap. Baron Corbin versus Kurt Angle.
Why am I liking Baron Corbin now that he's not the GM or acting,
Less Baron Corbin is always a good thing.
But why am I liking him?
Well, I gotta say, Corbin, he's fun. I don't know. There's something about him. Like the last two, it all changed for us last week when he goes, he almost hit me with that guitar.
This killed me.
That was really funny.
Yeah, no, I don't know. But even on the mic, he's just been better.
But
it's not saying much. Definitely not saying a whole lot, but he's doing great.
Yeah.
But what are they?
But Kurt Angle.
What are they doing?
I get what they're doing. I know what they're doing.
What are they doing?
What they're doing is they're trying to make Kurt Angle look pathetic. So, he kind of questions himself, and then he winds up, he's probably going to try to snap and just say, I got to get my old self back. I tapped out to my own finisher, against Drew McIntyre. I didn't last long in the Royal Rumble. I didn't last long in the Best in the World tournament, even though I doubt they'll ever mention that. And and then I get beat by the Deep Six, not even the End of Days, the Deep Six by Baron Corbin quickly on Raw. They're making Kurt Angle seem like this sad, broken down guy. The only problem is, even if Kurt Angle has the triumphant match or he has a retirement match at WrestleMania, no matter what, Kurt Angle's doing something at WrestleMania. I don't know against who. It could be against Drew McIntyre, could be against Baron Corbin, could be against somebody who's looking to get a rub or something like that. No matter what, they're trying to make Kurt Angle look like a broken down, sad individual. He already is. I gotta say, watching him run down to the Royal Rumble last night was super, super sad. Kurt Angle can't stand up straight anymore. His back is hunched because he's just taken so much punishment through the years. He's already sad to watch. I don't need to be sadder watching Kurt Angle. I don't.
I know.
Oh man,
poor Kurt.
But I see what they're doing, and I'm sure the payoff will be great. But for now, it's just I just hate to see Kurt Angle just looking so bad.
I know, but that's the thing. It's really bad. It's not even a little sad. It's very sad.
yeah, it's extremely, extremely sad. Oh, that's a good one. I just clicked over to the chat room, and it's a lively chat room tonight. I gotta say, I like it. CJ Bowman has a little prediction for WrestleMania.
Okay.
The Cena retirement match. I'm sorry, you can't see me, and then he just like the Ric Flair. I'm sorry, I love you in the super kick. I'm sorry, you can't see me. 5-knuckle shuffle pin. John Cena. That would be a damn good match for Kurt Angle, but Kurt Angle does need to.
CJ, that's a good one.
He does need to get out of the wrestling ring. It's high time. He would. I would venture to say Kurt Angle would probably be a good producer. As long
as he's working for the company,
or a good guy in the performance center, something like that. They have Shawn Michaels in the performance center, so that's pretty darn good. Kurt Angle would not hurt whatsoever.
No, definitely not. In character development and everything.
But he looks like he carries every single bump that he's taken through the years. He really does.
Will his son be there at his retirement match?
His son.
Jason Jordan.
Oh my God, I totally forgot. Yeah, maybe it's going to be Jason Jordan that comes back out of nowhere and does the retirement match. Oh my God, I totally forgot about that crap. Holy crap.
Or he faces Baron Corbin in honor of his father.
Wow, yeah, with Kurt's career on the line. They won't even let Kurt wrestle WrestleMania.
You can't talk to my father that way.
That's amazing. Oh my God. I can't believe how horrible those freaking vignettes were. Oh my God. That was the drizzling shits. Oh my God. Totally forgot about that.
You're welcome, everyone.
Totally. It's been a year since Jason Jordan's wrestled, actually. The last time he wrestled was at Royal Rumble in Philadelphia. So, I do wonder what the hell's going on with that guy.
Yeah.
I hope he's okay.
Well,
I hope he does eventually come back. And if not, I hope that they give him some kind of job backstage.
Well, his father doesn't seem to be concerned.
Yeah,
so.
I know. Yeah, his father. Oh my God, how funny was that? Now that I think about it, there was a picture at some point of Kurt Angle with his actual family, and then he was backstage at a WWE event, and at WrestleMania, and it's Kurt Angle was celebrating with his family backstage, and there was a meme poor Jason Jordan or something. It was really funny. Finn Balor addressed losing to Brock Lesnar. He said, last night Brock Lesnar beat me, and then Brock Lesnar beat me again because I made Brock Lesnar believe. Finn Balor also made Mike Tedesco believe. Finn Balor, I think, if I may speak for you, probably made Victoria Tedesco believe.
Oh, definitely.
It's almost like that. I said it a week ago that Vince, when he sent out that tweet after NXT UK, the takeover event there, and he said, "Yes, I watched the NXT UK takeover. Yes, it was awesome." It's almost like I do believe that Vince watched this show and saw Finn Balor in his element, not doing the smiling thing, not doing the Finn Balor is over crap, and Finn Balor pandering to the LGBTQ community. It was Finn Balor just going out there and having a good match and just doing what he's good at. And Vince was like, wow, goddamn, where's this guy been? And let's put him against Lesnar. It wasn't the same Finn Balor. It wasn't the Finn Balor hiding out in kid playhouses and, talking about, using the same joke 3 weeks in a row on Baron Corbin being the Applebee's manager or something like that. It was like, Finn Balor, here I am. I'm serious. I'm ready for business. The match against Brock Lesnar last night, hot take, that was the best thing on the show. That was the best match on the show by far. To me, I liked Asuka versus Becky Lynch, but Lesnar, Finn Balor, that's the best match on the show.
It was quite
by far. And tonight he's over again.
You know what was quite impressive about this whole turnaround with Finn Balor?
What's that? Well, I'm going to talk about where they're going to go wrong, but yeah, go on.
Not using the demon. The fact that he's able to go over and not have the demon.
Right.
That's interesting.
The demon's a crutch almost. Yes. But they also have to protect the demon too. The demon can only come out when Balor's going to win. So I guess the next time he has a title match, if he ever comes out as the demon, he's got to win. So that is
But it was just interesting how he's able to turn it around without the demon.
Yeah. Now the only thing that stinks for Finn Balor is that once he cut this promo about Brock Lesnar, who did they send out? Bobby Lashley, the almighty Bobby Lashley. So after this really, really hot match against Brock Lesnar, where Balor looked just absolutely phenomenal, they're going to put him against Bobby Lashley,
dun, dun, dun.
who is just as big as Brock Lesnar, but half as talented. And I'll be interested to see, how well that feud goes, because most things with Bobby Lashley are death, in my opinion. They caught lightning in a bottle with the Roman Reigns thing over the summer. I don't know. I'm not feeling it now. I hope that I'm proved wrong. I really am. I really am. And it could be good. Brock. He's very similar to Brock Lesnar in look. So if Finn Balor can win the Intercontinental title from him, it's a good look for Balor as this giant slayer. They really do want him to be David, always taking on Goliath. So here's his chance.
Right. I mean, listen, if they're going with this pattern of huge turnarounds,
yeah, maybe
we'll be pleasantly surprised with him feuding with Bobby Lashley. Who the heck knows? Could work out. Let's try to be optimistic about this,
I'm being optimistic as I possibly can.
As a wrestling fan can possibly be, you know. But no, I'm just saying, we might be pleasantly surprised. Maybe they'll figure out a way of fine-tuning Bobby Lashley's character as well, where we're not feeling this is going to be the worst thing this is going to be the worst feud for Finn Balor.
Yeah. Okay, so after that, we had probably the one little bit of filler tonight, but even this as filler makes a lot of sense, to put these guys out there, because they had the little reunion thing last week. Zack Ryder and Kurt Hawkins versus the Revival. Kurt Hawkins' streak does not end tonight. Zack Ryder and Kurt Hawkins lose, but they have been entered into the tag team division, I guess, together. But there was a really unfortunate incident with Zack Ryder on Raw, and it's right there for you. They on the nameplate, they spelled his name wrong. Zack Ryder, Z-A-C-H, not Z-A-C-K.
Oh my gosh, he always has something with his name. Do you remember Lillian Garcia?
I do. How could I ever
Jack,
forget that?
So Swagger.
Oh my god, that was aggressive. Jack Swagger won on Saturday, by the way, his MMA debut.
Yeah,
but yeah. So funny story, real quick. I don't want to sidetrack too much from Raw, and I know this is already it's a lengthy show as it is already. We went to a SmackDown. When was it? In 2012. Yes, this was at the height of the Zack Ryder is getting pushed phenomenon, and essentially what happened was Zack Ryder came out on SmackDown to have a match against, I think it was against Jack Swagger. And
no, I don't. I don't know now.
It doesn't even matter. But anyway, Lillian Garcia for whatever reason was announcing at SmackDown that night, and she announced. Like, Zack Ryder is literally in the ring posing. Like, you know who this is now. It even says it on his trunks that it says Zack Ryder. And Lillian Garcia goes, Jack Swagger. And everybody in the crowd goes, what? That was at the time.
And then John Cena came out and was like,
well at the dark match.
Yeah.
And this was awesome about this too, was Cena actually, I believe he was actually filming something. He was doing like a cameo or something like that. They were doing some WWE film or whatever. He flew from Los Angeles to go to Newark, New Jersey to do a dark match on a SmackDown. So when people say that John Cena is, is a part-timer and is a loser, like,
not devoted,
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
This guy, when he was full-time and he was showing up to every gig, and it doesn't matter if he was across the country. He showed up to do a friggin' dark match, cage match against, I don't even remember who it was. But anyway, they had Tony Chimmel come out during the dark match and announced Zack Ryder as the ringside enforcer, and he got right in Lillian's face and did made sure that he said Zack Ryder, and it was cute. It was really cute. It's a great memory. But
anywho,
yeah, WWE does not do a good job with Zack Ryder's name at all. And the Revival won, quick tag match, but it was fine. This next segment was friggin' awesome. So Elias is back. Number one, breaking news: Elias is back as a heel now. It looks like, which is totally fine. I think he's a guy who's kind of miscast as a face anyway. His shtick, obviously it worked well last night at the Royal Rumble, and it worked well tonight too because the crowd was super into Elias, even when he was kind of shitting on them. They were super into him, and they were even chanting "We're not worthy" and all that stuff. And Elias kind of threatened to not, sing at all. And then that brought out the newly hired Jeff Jarrett of all
your best friend
of all people, which is totally awesome. It's such a great triumphant comeback story. It really, really is. To have Jeff Jarrett back. Jeff Jarrett gave him the old listen up, slap nuts, and it's like so weird to see Jeff Jarrett on Monday Night Raw, something that hasn't happened since October 1999. That's 19 and a half years ago. And here he is, after everything that happened, after Vince McMahon fired him on air, for real, said that he's not buying out Jeff Jarrett's contract, and Jeff is just going to, be like just out on the street, on the final telecast of Nitro. To where they are now, I mean, Jim Ross. I remember early on when he came out with the Ross Report. I used to drive to gigs with the band, and I would listen to a podcast on the way down there. And he was doing interviews. He was having good. I haven't listened to the Ross Report in years now, but he faced Jeff. He had an interview with Jeff Jarrett. Jim Ross couldn't even bring himself to talk about it. Like he just there was still some bad feelings there, and it's all better. It's all better. That's pretty darn cool. I like it a lot. This was a really, really good segment. They brought out. We got some breaking news. I just saw on Twitter there is some breaking news. It's official. They didn't announce it tonight on the show, and my hotkeys are not. Oh, there they go. Now they're working. It's official. Seth Rollins is going to challenge Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania 35. They have announced the main event. There was an issue tonight, and you know what? Let's just skip everything and go right to the main event. There was an issue where you said it. You asked if they're going to go long tonight.
Yeah, it was 5 to 11.
Yeah, it's no for Raw tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When they came out,
they started the thing at 5 minutes to 11. This Seth Rollins decision was so rushed. They never, they sent Brock Lesnar out immediately. They never even got Daniel Bryan out there, and Rollins was going to make his decision, and then he punched Lesnar and was trying to go for a stomp, but Lesnar hit him with 4 F5s, and then he hit a 5th F5 on the championship, and then he hit him with a 6th F5, and after challenging Lesnar to get back in the ring, which was a hot angle. It was a hot angle for sure, to me. I'm sure there were people that hated it because they hate seeing Brock Lesnar go over, and they hate anything Brock Lesnar, even though he's one of the smartest workers in my opinion, one of the smartest workers in the history of the business. The way that he can have a great match with big, small, and with his size. You know what I mean?
And he control the fans too.
He control the fans. He really does make them truly believe that
he hates his company.
He hates wrestling, and maybe he is a guy that wants to be at home, and but if he's going to come out, he wants to make the most money possible, and if you can do that, God bless you, go for it. Why not? It doesn't mean that he doesn't have a passion for it or he doesn't care about it. The whole entire thing with the whole Goldberg storyline, to have Goldberg go over him in 30 seconds at Survivor Series was Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman's idea. Brock and Goldberg admits that. Brock Lesnar's a smart guy when it comes to working.
No, he is. He's very smart, and I think that.
Go on.
Well, I'm just saying with the breaking news, I think it's good that they made that official only because of the way that they had to kind of rush.
Yeah, they went off the air.
Yeah, I mean, I was nervous. I was like, what are they going to do? Are they going to go past 11? Because I know they really can't do it anymore.
And I thought that maybe they got some permission to have a 5-minute overhang.
Yeah, I didn't know
for a
because of
big
the show.
Raw like this.
Maybe.
But they didn't.
But they didn't.
It went off the air in the middle of the segment. I think they missed their time. I really do.
And I do too. And the only reason...
Kind of reminds me of the Shawn Michaels Bret Hart segment where Shawn Michaels super kicked Bret Hart into the wheelchair. That was shown the next week on Raw because it just went off the air with them kind of jaw-jacking.
The only thing I would have liked to see tonight, though, I think it worked out fine because you saw Seth Rollins on the ground. It was kind of open to interpretation, you know what I mean? Like, as far as what he was going to do. I mean, everybody knew that, obviously, it's Brock Lesnar. But the only thing that sucks about the whole time element is that I would have liked to see Daniel Bryan come out. You know, that would have been really cool because he's out there. He had a quick little, a segment when he came out with Eric Rowan and everything, and in the backstage when they interviewed him. But
it does, it kind of it doesn't really make the WWE Championship seem like the priority, which it hasn't been for years. There hasn't been one main event since they started doing the combined.
Well, they just had since
they started doing the combined pay-per-views. There hasn't been one WWE title main event, and so Daniel Bryan was just there, and they did nothing with him.
No,
so,
whatever.
Well,
he had that one little backstage thing.
Yeah, they had the one backstage thing.
But you know what? Maybe, even though there's the breaking news that he chose Brock Lesnar, Daniel Bryan could do something with that and be like, oh, he's a coward. Like, you know what I like?
Yeah, of course.
So there's still opportunity, even if he wants to do it on Raw, or if he wants to do it on SmackDown, just to kind of...
Yeah.
Like, say something about it and be like, oh, what a coward that he, chose him. He didn't even get the opportunity to talk to me and blah, 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 blah.
Right.
So they could, you know what? Like, that's the only thing I would have liked to see tonight. But if it happens to be a little bit later, okay.
Yeah.
That's fine.
It could happen. You never know. So that was good stuff. And maybe it'll show what happened after Raw went off the air at some point. I'd like to see the end of the segment.
Yeah,
sure.
Really.
Anyway, so that was the main event angle. We just went through that pretty quickly, but that was pretty much all there was. It was just Seth Rollins was going to make a decision, and then Paul Heyman basically...
But it was fast itself, so...
Yeah, it was very fast itself. And Paul Heyman was like, you should choose Daniel Bryan. You'll have a good sports entertainment match, but, you'll at least survive it. Brock Lesnar, you're not going to survive.
Right.
6 F5s, including 1 on the title. There was a lot of stuff. Okay, where was I? So anyway, back to the Jeff Jarrett thing. They had Road Dogg come out as the roadie. He didn't come out as the roadie, but it was Road Dogg, and they kind of nodded that it was like, he was Jeff Jarrett's roadie in 1993 and 1994. If probably a lot of the viewing audience wasn't alive then, or they were just born. So they had a good little thing. They sang "With My Baby Tonight," and then Elias creamed them both with guitars, and that was the end of it. But it was
fun.
It was a lot of fun.
That was fun.
It was a lot of fun, and I'd love to see Elias versus Jeff Jarrett at Elimination Chamber or WrestleMania. Something. I'd love to see that match. It seems like that would be a friggin' blast.
That'd be very cool.
Let's see. Apparently, Ember Moon is injured, so Natalya wound up with Dana Brooke as her partner instead. Which, Dana Brooke, man, oh man. Well, I mean, she's improved, but that's like saying, it's not a compliment.
Okay.
it's not really a great improvement.
I mean, whatever.
Yeah. Anyway, Liv Morgan, Sarah Logan go over them.
I feel bad about Ember Moon.
I'd like to know what the injury is.
Well, with the injury,
she might have a cracked rib for that from the insult to injury from Alexa Bliss last night.
But you know what though,
that was bad.
She needs a little break. She needs. She's another one who needs a reset.
Oh yes,
major.
She desperately needs a reset button.
So I don't want to see anybody get injured, but
any goodwill that she had, God,
TV time.
Look at what injuries do. Look how over Alexa Bliss was when she announced that she was going to be in the Royal Rumble, and at the Rumble last night she was very over.
Yeah, because huge pop.
Absence makes the heart grow fonder. It does.
No, it does. And you know what?
I mean, think about all the great comebacks. Triple H's comeback in Madison Square Garden in January 2002 was red hot because Triple H came back from a torn quad, wasn't seen for 9 months.
John
Cena's come back at the Royal Rumble in 2008 from the torn pec. People thought he was going to be gone for 6 months to a year. He came back in 3, and it was a massive pop. Every time Undertaker comes back from something, when you're off TV and you come back, people love it, and I think, they can take Ember Moon off TV. I think you're 100% right, Victoria. They can take her off TV, and she can come back and reclaim some of that mystique that she had.
Yeah,
because she lost a lot of it.
A lot of it, and it very much shows too. Even her matches haven't been very good, and normally I'm very impressed by her, but she's just been another female on the roster to me. So this may be like the best.
She's been existing.
I hope, like I said, hope she's all right, but this might be good for her.
Yeah. So the next segment. This was probably the segment of the
biggest. I am so excited to talk about this.
Yes,
I really am.
So we have Ronda Rousey comes out to the ring, and it's all Becky chants. They are chanting for Becky every time Rousey tries to talk. They boo her. Rousey was noticeably
stuttering, and
she was noticeably taken aback by this. She was not able to handle this. It derailed her, and she did stutter. She lost her place. She forgot her lines. She was supposed to be out there to talk about, what a champion is and put over Sasha Banks, and barely got that out. And then she actually responded to the Becky Lynch chants and pointed at WrestleMania, the WrestleMania sign. But she never got out the fact that she was going to be there for an open challenge. She stood there for a while, just bouncing the mic up and down because she forgot her lines. And then they sent Bayley out there, who was supposed to be her open challenge opponent, and Bayley had to issue an open challenge to herself and accept it for Ronda Rousey.
I know.
Which was something to basically save Ronda Rousey.
That's the only thing.
It was shocking.
Listen, this overall has been phenomenal between the two of them, but this is the one thing where I always feel bad for Ronda, because I'm like, this is where she legitimately cannot take any type of negativity.
She was not good at criticism in the UFC.
She's not good with it. She's had mental breakdowns, obviously, over negativity.
Oh yeah.
So I mean, she
doesn't handle failures very well.
She does not. So that's the only thing that I feel bad for her for. I'm like, she really takes it to heart, everything that people say, and it's like, no, you know what, Rhonda, it's actually a good thing. Don't worry about it. Like, you were with one of the biggest superstars, in the company. Not even just for the women in general, And one could argue with me about Becky Lynch being like one of the best, right? She is the best right now. I'm sorry, she is.
She's the number one in the company.
She is number one. So
over everybody else.
And I think it's hard for Ronda Rousey to kind of feel like, no, this is a good thing. You want to be in this position. You want to be facing someone like her. You know, you want to be in a match with her because no matter what, there's still Ronda Rousey fans. You still like her. You still think she's good in the ring.
Yep.
No matter, even if you don't like her personally, even if you think
and she is great in the ring.
Yeah,
she had, you know, I'm not the biggest Sasha Banks fan. I don't think that's a big surprise on this show. I thought that they had a good match last night. I thought, of course, Sasha was dangerous, but Ronda Rousey will, you know, I predicted that Ronda Rousey would have trouble with Sasha Banks doing some dangerous stuff, and she did. She caught her both times. She tried the suicide dive. Don't know why she has to do it through the top and middle rope. She should be doing it through the bottom and middle rope, like Ember Moon does. Less angle, you know. It's more catered to her height, but you know, Ronda Rousey was still Johnny on the spot right there. Saved her a couple times, but. This is the prime example of like a segment where like I would typically get pissed off and think like, you know, I just can't stand wrestling fans. Sometimes they ruin the fun of things, but you know what? I can't at this one. It's people are just amped up for the basically what should be the main event of WrestleMania. Everybody knows it's coming.
And what you said tonight earlier, that I don't know if you were going to mention, the fact that also this was so well put together tonight that you don't even need Charlotte if you didn't want to go that route.
Oh, no. Well, yeah, we'll talk about that in a second. Yeah, no, but I was going to say, you know, like people are just amped up for WrestleMania pretty much, and it's not a bad thing that they were chanting Becky during this thing because people want to see that, and you know you want to encourage that. The big issue here is, are they going to be able to sustain this? Are they going to be able to sustain this excitement for the next 2 months? I say yes, because they sustained the excitement since Survivor Series to get them in the ring again.
You want to know why I say yes too? Is she's really this equivalent to Brock Lesnar, where they're like, oh, part-timer UFC fighter, thinks they can hang in WWE and blah, 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 blah. Yeah, I do. Because the more and more that she is involved and the more and more that she has these little vignettes and promos and everything else regarding Becky, yeah, I really think they can sustain it.
Yeah.
Because the more and more time passes and the more you don't know what really is going to happen with her career. Is she taking a time off, a break after WrestleMania? Yeah, I really think so.
No, who cares? Who cares if she is or not? Let's not even speculate on that, because she doesn't want anybody speculating on it anyway. That's fine. I don't need to speculate on that. It's you know, it's just people are excited for the main event. Becky's. Oh, I see in the chat room. Becky's the flavor of the time, and you know, a couple people. Actually, Andrew says Joan Jett needs to be at WrestleMania. That'd be pretty good.
Oh yeah.
Cool. I think every single big star, you know, somebody who's kind of comes up organically that wasn't in the plans for the company and they come up organically, all of them start off as flavors of the month. I do believe that. CM Punk at the, you know, for a time was a flavor of the month. Daniel Bryan, same thing. It's how you book them. And, you know, I think most organic people start off as a flavor of the month, and then it's how you book them that to keep them over. And I don't believe that Becky Lynch is a flavor of the month anymore. I think they are booking her strong. I know there's a lot of criticism about, like, you know, Becky Lynch, like, you know, acting tough and stuff like that. Well, most of the people on the roster, yeah, they're like, they are. Some of them are legit athletes, and some of them came up, you know, in wrestling in gymnasiums, and they're, you know, they're great athletes, but they're not like fighters or anything like that. You know, like if, you know, if they were in a brawl with somebody, it'd be 50-50 on who's actually going to win, you know, and stuff like that. You know, everybody plays tough. You know, it's angles, it's successful angles, it's successful promos, it's good matches. That's what keeps you over. And Becky Lynch, even if she loses, you know, like last night against Asuka, she looked great in the loss. She really, really did. She looked great in her loss at TLC. It was not a bad loss. She was strong throughout. They are being very careful in booking her, and that, you know, and they're making her a priority. And the fact that they made her a priority has helped her immensely. I
don't think she's a flavor of the month solely because of the fact that she's had a long sustainability with this development of her character. So no, I don't think so. I mean,
And CJ says Edge also was a guy who came up organically, and when he came up organically, yes, he really did. He came back from the neck injury and kind of loafed around for a little bit. You know, like they gave him a couple Intercontinental title runs, and then there was a groundswell for him. There really was. Like fall 2004, people were getting behind Edge. You know, winter 2005, people are behind Edge, and then he wins the Money in the Bank. Then in January 2006, he wins the WWE title, and then it's just like Edge gets getting put in good angle after good angle and having good match after good match. Had a tag team that never should have been successful with Randy Orton, and they were totally friggin' awesome as Rated RKO. The live sex angle with Lita, the Vicky Guerrero stuff. Edge took everything they gave him and made it into something.
Made it his own, made it work.
That is what the big talents do. Becky Lynch is taking everything they give her right now and hitting home runs with them because that's what she needs to do. That's what she needs to do to stay over, and she is responding. This was the biggest women's angle, probably one of the biggest women's angles in the history of the company, because this could legitimately, for the first time ever on a major American wrestling show, have women at a stadium show with 80,000 people as the final match on the card. This was the angle to set that up. It needed to be more than a home run. It needed to be a grand slam. And Ronda Rousey stepped up, even though she failed in her promo earlier. When Becky Lynch finally came out in this thing and got in her face and said this is an easy decision for her, she chooses Ronda Rousey. That is the money line. That is the soundbite that's going to be in the video package for this enormous match. And that angle is what's going to get people excited. And I got to say, after the angle, I wish that I could be frozen. I wish that I could be cryogenically frozen. This is how I felt after the angle. And this is how I know it's a good angle, because there's very few times I've felt like this. I want to be cryogenically frozen because I don't even want to be conscious waiting for April for WrestleMania. I want it to be April already so I can see this match. That's how excited I am about it. I wish that it was tomorrow. I really do. And I felt the same way when they did Triple H and Undertaker in the Hell in a Cell at WrestleMania. I just knew, I said, I have to be at this WrestleMania. I have to be. Those are money angles. And, that's a superstar solidifying moment forever for both of them. Legendary. That'll be in the Hall of Fame packages when, eventually, they go in. So that's my take on it. Victoria.
Yeah, I was super impressed. No matter what type of thing that maybe Ronda was struggling with prior to it, she's going to come through, and she's going to, because I think at the end of the day, she remembers like what her purpose is there and what she has to do to keep this momentum. And what's really cool about this is I love how this is mainstreamed. I love the fact that these women are getting in the headlines, and finally, like, there's exposure, and finally there's these opportunities for them, like real opportunities, and showing that this is where, to me, this is showing that they're equal. This is where, like, as a woman, like, this is just so exciting to be witnessing, and to be finally, like, we're part of the time where not only are we on that same playing field, now there's even, like, they're exceeding the expectations of what, this has become. Yeah. Like, this is, to me, like, the real, like, evolution of what Stephanie McMahon was talking about, for these women. This is where it comes to a head.
This is the culmination, and this is happening not because the company forced it to happen. It's not. Like, I believe that Ronda Rousey would still have a featured match on WrestleMania, and I think that it would be considered a main event, but it wouldn't go on last. The organic build, the organic ascension of Becky Lynch to the face of the women's division for all of WWE, pretty much. Know what? But it was so organic that it's going to force the company. I really do believe it's going to force them to put it as the last match on the show. I don't think that was the plan forever, but it's got to be in the cards now. It really does, and that happened organically. That is really, really cool. It didn't happen because the company buzzworded the hell out of everything and used Women's Revolution a million friggin' times. It happened because these two worked hard, and it just so happens that they're women, but they deserve to be the main event of WrestleMania. They deserve it. Not because they're women, but because they've put in tremendous work and they've taken every single angle that they've given them and ran with it.
Yes. What else do you want to say?
I don't know. I didn't know. So, good stuff. All right. Yeah, that was just a great angle. I that got me so pumped. Let's back up for a second and talk about Ronda's match against Bayley, which again, Ronda was nervous about her promo getting booed and all that stuff, but didn't stop her from having a really good match against Bayley and tapping her out with the armbar. Back to back. I saw it a few times. This is not like a brand new thought from me, but it seems like when Sasha Banks and Bayley actually have matches where they're featured and it's a title match or some kind of big opportunity, they step up finally. But if they're not in a featured angle or if they're not in something that they can get behind, those two do not do well, and that really showed tonight because Bayley can still go. It's not like Bayley forgot how to wrestle. If she's in something featured and it's a big deal, she can respond. Same with Sasha Banks.
They're showcasing something where it's benefiting them, and they're going to put all their effort in. But if it's not, and if it's just like a quick little, no.
Yeah.
But nevertheless, still a pretty good match over. Like considering, you know what I mean, as far as that, like. Up. I guess if you have to, I guess if you, I guess it's better than nothing. That if they're not going to sell for the small stuff, but they sell for that. All right.
Yeah.
Whatever. Like, do you know what I mean? But
yep. Yes. What else?
And and kudos to Bayley for helping Ronda to get through that. Like in the beginning,
Bayley definitely saved Ronda Rousey. She did
because I was a little confused at first. I'm like, oh no, never mind. She's trying to save her like right now.
Yeah. And you know what we forgot to talk about? The addition of possibly Charlotte to this match for the main event with Ronda Rousey.
Well, I spoke about it briefly beforehand.
Yeah, we did, but we didn't talk about it. We don't need her.
You don't need her. You really don't. If they added her in, cool. But if they don't have to.
Charlotte versus Asuka last year was after the Ronda Rousey Kurt Angle mixed tag with Triple H and Stephanie. The Charlotte versus Asuka was my favorite thing on WrestleMania last year. By far.
I don't know.
By far. And a rematch this year.
But to be honest with you, I don't know how Charlotte will feel about that. Not that necessarily matters.
It would still be it would be a featured main event. It really would.
No doubt. But when the initial plan wasn't Becky Lynch.
The initial plan was Charlotte.
It was Charlotte and Becky. So you have to be. I mean, Charlotte versus Ronda.
Yes.
So you have to wonder. If you're Charlotte right now, you are a little worried, probably.
Yeah, you're probably a little
because
ticked.
you're probably a little.
And she's Ric Flair's daughter,
right? So you're probably thinking to yourself that this went over so well that you're thinking you don't really need it. They could, I mean, they very well could add her in. You know what I mean? They definitely well could work it in. Are they going to? That is the big question. And now if you're thinking you're Charlotte, you're like, crap. Like, you know what I mean? I had this opportunity to be the first woman to be, to be main event at WrestleMania.
It could still happen. It really could.
It can.
But there are ways around it because Becky Lynch technically wasn't even supposed to be in the Rumble.
No doubt. But where do you go from, like, you know what I mean? You're Charlotte, you're a little skeptical. You're like,
it's just like, would that be overkill almost? Or would that kind of take away from the organic nature of it? I could see it only getting Charlotte. Charlotte though she's definitely nervous though. You can tell. Like she's definitely thinking like, you would think. But she had a great performance last night too at the Rumble.
She did. And that's the thing.
Charlotte and Asuka would be a great rematch. A great rematch.
But that's not what she was intending
that
for.
obviously wouldn't be.
The plan was Charlotte and Ronda.
Obviously, I think if you have, if you have any competitive nature in your body, everybody wants to be in the main event of WrestleMania. So, if that were to happen, I'm sure she would feel a little ticked about it. All right, let's wrap this baby up talking about Braun Strowman versus Drew McIntyre. We had Braun Strowman backstage. He congratulated Seth Rollins beforehand, giving him the respect and all that stuff. Everybody loves respect. And it's Braun Strowman versus Drew McIntyre in my favorite kind of match. Two big, strong guys that work extraordinarily snug, beating the hell out of each other. I'm all about that. Yeah, everybody knows that. For years, I just love the big guys beating on each other matches. Those are fun, and this was that. Strowman was over tonight, which was nice to see again. I guess people want to get behind him again. They love the spot with the running shoulder blocks on the outside. They love all that stuff. Odd that there was no follow-up with Dolph Ziggler, who was responsible for eliminating Drew McIntyre last night in the Rumble. There was no Ziggler sightings tonight. Instead, they kind of made it seem like Braun Strowman was really the one that eliminated Drew McIntyre, but really there was some help.
Maybe
from
Dolph
Ziggler
Ziggler really did not sign that contract that we're all talking about.
That's such a work.
No, I'm just saying, maybe he really didn't sign that contract tonight.
There was no contract to be signed because it was all work.
It was all joking.
Work. No, I know. It's Dolph Ziggler trying to work everybody, trying to work everybody into caring about him, which is like, that's tough. That's extremely tough. But they had Baron Corbin come out afterwards and attack Strowman. So he caused disqualification. Strowman over McIntyre by disqualification, and after that, McIntyre laid him out with a Claymore kick, and that was that. So, but the crowd was really into him. A lot of big "get these hands" chants. Even I love Adam's little comment here. It's just one sentence and it says it all. I could watch Braun Strowman beat up dudes all day. I've said it before. I'll say it again. I love watching Braun Strowman beat up guys. And maybe that's just what they need to get back to doing. Maybe they just need to get back to doing that. So that could work for Braun Strowman. But golly, this was a packed Monday Night Raw. No sleeper segments whatsoever. Everything meant something.
Yeah. No, really. I first time in a long time where I enjoyed 92% of the show.
I enjoyed 100% of the show. It was there was just everything flowed. It was paced well. The clunky interview with Ronda Rousey, whatever, it didn't feel like 3 hours to get through it.
No.
It didn't feel like 3 hours
Definitely not.
all.
I was very surprised. That's why at 10:55 I was like, oh my gosh, it's 10:55 already.
Yeah.
And then that's when they were coming out. I'm like, oh my God. Oh wow.
Yep. So that is the mark of a good Raw, when you don't realize anymore how long the damn show is.
Finally.
So we finally got it. And I just wish that I recapped it, but Adam did a tremendous job recapping it.
Yes, Adam, thank you.
Thank you, Adam, for that. We will be back next week for it'll be our 25th. Yes, it'll be our 25th post Raw. So I think that's a big milestone one. Our 25th post Raw. Yeah, that's exciting stuff. Let's check out the poll real quick before we end this thing. And my hotkey stopped working again, so we have 80% thumbs up now. 80%.
Yeah.
So people are getting into it. They must be listening to the podcast and getting excited. So
look at you. And the live chat. The live chat. Because the live chat's popping tonight.
The live chat is popping tonight. So everybody, please, thank you for joining us tonight. This was a lot of fun. We love talking wrestling, and we love talking about good wrestling. And tonight was all of the above. It was good sports entertainment. It was good wrestling.
Woo! It
was everything. This was a great show. God, I got to say, thumbs up. Absolutely thumbs up. So. And I'm sure. What do you think? Thumbs up?
Oh, thumbs up.
Yeah,
I'm gonna be like thumbs down. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, she's thumbs up. So, everybody, thanks again for joining us tonight. It was a pleasure talking with you all. And if you're listening to us on Spotify or iTunes or watching the replay on YouTube, thanks for listening. We really appreciate it. Please join us live at some point. It'd be great to have you in the chat room. Representing Wrestleview.com, our favorite website in the world. I'm Mike Tedesco.
I'm Victoria Tedesco.
And have yourselves a good night.
And a good week.
Oh, yeah, that too.